Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching and listening to another edition of Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and network globally. I'm Mike Morales here in gloomy Southern California. That gentleman out there is,
I'm Eric Zandona in Florida's Emerald Coast.
Florida's Panhandle, which is famous for Eric Zandona and lawsuits, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, infringement lawsuits. Eric, I'm excited because I have
Yes.
been chasing this hooch for since I wrote the book on agave spirits around the world, and I'll show you the book in a second. But this is an agave spirit that is coming directly from Venezuela, which
hmm
was illegal to bring into the United States until just recently, and I would say 19
Yeah.
in 2000, 2025.
Yeah.
There have been a
You can
lot.
see here, this is lot A.
Yes. Well, you can see it better. I got the ring light. There we
Yeah.
go. But yours is better. Yes. And this was well, the date on this was March 5th. Oh, I see. It because the international date line.
Right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's March 5th, 2024. So it was last year's
Yep.
first batch. I have been chasing this for a couple of years. Eric finally admitted to me that he has had a small sample. Uh,
Small sample.
this is called Cucuy. The name of the company is Verdor or Verdor and
Yeah.
Verdor.
Ooh.
Not it sounds
They
like
got some.
a place on Star Wars, right? Verdor. What planet is that?
Yeah.
This is the case that came in. Isn't it beautiful?
hmm
I told Eric on
Yeah. The packaging's great.
Yes, I told Eric on camera, it reminded me a lot of the old school Don Julio 1942 that were made, the coffin boxes that were made with agave paper.
hmm
I'm assuming that this is the same type of agave paper if it was smart. Yeah, this is considered a claro, so it's in tequila terms, it's a blanco, or in mezcal
Right.
terms, it's a joven. So it's
Right.
unaged and 100% green agave. The agave they use, I have been told by people I know, people insiders, my mentor has said that this is supposedly the best agave spirit in the world. But
Okay.
up until, I mean, better than mezcal, better than he claimed that this was the best one. And so ever since he said that, I have been chasing it. Um, lots of bubbles, lots of shampoo.
hmm
So as usual, we got no information except very very minimal and whatever I researched, and I'll bring up the research later. But right now, we're popping the cork.
Yeah. I'm excited to dive into this. Like you said, this was, I don't know, good maybe 5 years ago. I was in Chicago, and a colleague of mine brought me a sample at a tasting event because he knew I was interested in trying some. And I was very excited. It was lovely. But as you said, forever you couldn't get it in the United States.
No, there
You
there
know,
have been trade embargoes against Venezuela for years,
yeah,
for
yeah.
several.
Rum somehow is still coming in. I don't know if it's grandfathered or what.
Diplomatico is the rum that comes from Venezuela, and Diplomatico
Right.
is sold. That's like Flor de Caña from Nicaragua. For years you couldn't
Uh,
get it. Only my grandparents would bring us the unaged version because
right.
the other stuff was too expensive to bring, when they visited. But now, it's just, it's a huge corporation. It's still based
Right.
in Nicaragua, and I believe Diplomatico is the same way. It's just out of Venezuela. But
hmm
I think the investment, I don't know who determines that, but you got Diplomatico rum, and now we have Verdor Cocuy. And
Yeah.
so I want to experiment with this and look at it. I can tell you that the nose was similar. You're right, similar to mezcal a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really nice.
Boy, the legs and tears are pretty.
Oh yeah.
Those
Really
are
long.
pretty. Yeah, it's streaming like Netflix. I love it. and it's pristine. I mean,
Yeah.
it measures up to any of the Joven mezcals that we've had, or Bacanoras, or I love tossing Eric the kitchen sink. So when this came across to me, I said, it's got to be Eric. It has to be because he's the only one with a palate wide enough to show me to tell me what's happening. We
Well,
celebratory Bacanoras, we've had Sotols, we've had again, you're the only one, and you gave me that sample, and you are going to do a review on it. I haven't opened the sample of the Indian agave spirit from India.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You gave me
Yeah,
a vial
I
of it.
have it up here. It's behind one of the other bottles.
Okay. When we go through your pipeline, we're going to do that one, okay? Because
Okay.
but this one has a lovely nose. It's just
Yeah. It's
very,
really nice.
yes.
There's got a lot of like fruit and there's this like lactic quality that you get,
Yeah.
kind of like quesillo or just like some,
Oh, it's
like
cheesy.
a
It's
yeah, a
cheesy.
little slightly cheesy,
Yeah.
almost yogurty kind of a aroma. Really lovely. I was a little concerned that at 40% that it would be a little bit on the weak side, but
Yes.
it smells great.
Now, see, there's the rub is that I was told by my mentors and people that knew about Kukui that it normally is at a higher ABV, very much like
Hmm.
mezcal would be, like it comes at
Yeah.
55, higher ABVs. But this one is coming in at 80 proof. So,
Yeah.
so, okay. I All right, let's just
Yeah.
what a
Well,
beautiful
they did.
nose, though.
It does. They didn't give us much information, but when I looked at their website, they have a picture of their still setup, and it has some interesting characteristics. It's basically a pot still that's surrounded by brick. So in that way, it's kind of like some of the old French stills, alembic stills that you see.
Okay. Oh,
And
yeah, yeah.
then and then it looks like, so there's a line arm, right? The vapors come up and then it goes at a down angle, which tends to give you a little bit heavier body. And then it looks like it goes into a retort, which is like a second pot still kind of thing,
Okay.
before it goes in the condenser. So in like Jamaica, you get a double retort pot still setup.
Mhm.
So it's like pot still, retort, retort, and then you get the spirit at the end, which
Wait, explain what a retort is. It's just like a resting
so,
place, or
yeah, yeah. So in the US, they'll call it a thumper. So
I've
or
heard the
a
term thumper, but
yeah.
not the
So
rabbit, not to be confused with the rabbit.
yeah, yeah. So basically what it is, um it's a vessel that has a like high wines. So basically the sort of like a middle distillate run of the spirit gets placed in this pot and then new vaporized spirit comes in and it basically kind of intensifies the aromatics before
Ah,
it makes its way to the condenser.
okay.
So
So it's so
it's
it's, so it gets a little perfumey and then goes back into a condenser.
yeah, so it's a little bit more work because you have to you make a single distillation run, then you take some of that and then you put it in the retort and then you do it again and then so there's a little bit of this like cycle that keeps happening that's a little bit complicated, but the results tend to be really good. So if you're a fan of Jamaican rum like I am, you get a lot of intensity in the character and the flavor
Come on.
because bec- because of the still design. So anyway, they had a picture of it on their website. It's not exactly the Jamaican style, makes sense they're in Venezuela, but it looks to me like a similar setup, which explains to me why even at 40% it has such an intense aroma.
Yeah, that makes more sense. So basically, what it does is it enhances the aroma, as you said, it enhances the aroma.
Yeah,
It probably enhances the flavor profile a little bit more as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
This is lovely. I mean, everything is very tropical, and you're right.
Hmm.
It has that underlying, malolactic, like you said, kind of mushroomy,
Yeah,
cheesy, um, like some really great mezcals to have that. You and I have had
right.
helados, which are coming fast and furious now.
Hmm.
Matter of fact, I think I had your name on a destilado that was
Yeah.
that we're hoping to get they want to see how many destilados we've done. I go, you have no idea who we are? What are you doing? We've been here for 25 years. We drink everything and the kitchen sink, and we have a guy who can explain it.
Right.
So,
Right.
do you want to dive in? I'm ready to dive
Yes.
in. Let's
Yeah,
go.
I'm ready to taste it. Mm. Oh yeah.
Oh my
That's
God.
really nice.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's chock full of flavor.
Oh, yes. Now, I didn't swallow mine, and I normally
Hmm.
don't, on the first pass of the spit bucket's
Yeah.
your friend.
Yeah.
And I haven't even had coffee this morning, this afternoon. So I have a clean palate. Oh my God, that burst of flavor it was mind blowing.
Hmm.
It was mind
Yeah.
blowing. It was everything at once.
Hmm.
What's the name of that show on Netflix? Everything all at once,
Yeah.
happening at
Everything
once.
everywhere all at once.
Everything, yeah,
Something.
everything
Yeah.
everywhere all at once, and don't look up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow. And I didn't swallow any, but it's a lingering pepperiness, it's got
Hmm.
excellent lip and gum numbness. Your whole mouth wakes up. It just
Yeah.
wakes up. But
Yeah, that's a really fun combination of flavors. To me, I get like there's some green apple, like tartness. There's some acidity, like almost like lime juice or lime
yes,
skins. And yet there's this kind of more complex tropical flavor that hard for me to put my finger on exactly, but really big flavor. And uh the palate's a little it's got this interesting combo where it's got this cool sensation on the tongue, and yet there's this little bit of tingling that you get
yes,
from the
yes, the peppery.
alcohol,
Uh-huh.
but really, really fun. Really fun.
And minimal alcohol. Again, you can tell it's well
Yeah,
done. It's just the alcohol is just doing what it's doing. It's
right.
rather fibers to it to have, it has a lot of the mezcal qualities where it might be, I'm not sure. It could be fermented with fibers. It sounds that way. I don't, I think the
Yeah, it looks like from their website pictures that they're fermenting with fibers.
Okay, that's what because there's that
Yeah,
fibrous denseness. There's a density to
yeah.
flavor that and it comes at you in layers, where
Hmm.
it's lighter at the beginning, at the top, and then as it
Yeah,
lingers on your palate, it gets deeper and deeper and thicker and denser. Uh,
yeah,
which is again probably a testament to the way that you're seeing how they're distilling it, with the
yeah.
thumper.
So this is, I think this is an interesting thing just popped in my head. This is I think a good example of how, so again, one of the pictures that I saw is that they don't cut they leave a bit of the penca on. It's
Yes,
not shaved close.
right,
So
exactly.
we tasted a different brand a little while ago where their selling point was that they do an extra close shave.
Yes.
And part of my issue was like, well, you're losing flavor by doing that. And here, I think is a great example, even at 40% ABV, because you're leaving some of that extra material, get a ton of flavor.
Well,
So,
when they harvest these, and again, I'm not on the website. I should be, and I think I may have seen the website once or twice. They don't use
yeah,
a koa when they harvest these.
right.
They use machetes because
Yeah,
that's just the tool of choice,
right.
for other countries. I'm going to dive in again. This is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Mm-hmm.
goodness. Mm, 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 mm. You get some lovely sweetness on the sides too of the palate.
Yeah,
This just it's 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 bold and not bold at the same time. I
right.
guess we would call this balanced, and it's got a nice warm fuzz,
Yeah.
great finish on this one.
Mm-hmm. This is well, I gotta take out my handy dandy sign here. I
Oh yeah, oh
definitely
for sure.
brand of promise
Yeah,
nominee for this.
yes. Not that we're going to have probably a a Kukui category, but we might. These guys might
Yeah.
be, they're pioneers. I don't know how they did it, and I don't know how the avenue of their journey. Well, they can come into the United States under agave spirits, obviously, because that's
Right.
that's
Right.
a huge umbrella. The fact that they're coming from Venezuela, where it hasn't been able to come from since I think I did some checking. The well, you know what? What do they say on their information? Is it in English? Let me see. And some of the information we've been getting has been from also their Instagram is available.
Yeah.
Premium agave liquor, crafted in small batches using only the finest. They're calling it green agave, but it's agave cucuy trellis, or I'm not sure if this is Latin or Spanish.
Yeah, it's Latin.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
trellis or trelice, but there's no accent in
Yeah.
it. From the semi-arid mountainous regions of Lara, Venezuela, handcrafted in the oldest kukui factory in the country, which has been producing kukui since 1927 and holds the #1 license for its production. And I did write about kukui in my book because I was told.
Hmm.
So I did a lot of research, and when I did research for my book, Agave Spirits Around the World, in order to understand agave around the world, you really have to go into their history and the geopolitical history of surrounding
Right.
beverage. And it was fascinating for me because Venezuela for decades has been a dictatorship. But you
Right.
go further than that, and you find out, and I go way back. You'll have to get the book and out. Let me show it to you. But I do go into the dates on this. Now, this was illegal to make, like Bacanora. This was hooch.
Yeah.
It was white lightning for decades.
Yeah. So apparently in 1953, the government outlawed kukui. I'm not sure what was going on in the 50s that,
Political. It was all political. It was.
yeah.
I was. The guy was a teetotaler, the dictator, and said, "Okay, no more." And
Yeah. And
that's
then
basically how
sometime
it
in
was.
the early 2000s, it was re-legalized. So,
Yes. In 2005, let me
there.
let me read you what I've got. It wasn't until Hugo Chavez, and I wrote this, by the way. This is the book, Agave Spirits Around the World. We're going to make this available. This is the next revision after I get done with the Catador course, which is that close to being. This is my next revision because of something I'll bring up a little bit later. But so in my information here, it wasn't until Hugo Chavez introduced his Bolivarian Revolution concept in
Right.
1999 that indigenous and local products began to be heavily promoted and respected. Okay, so in May 2002, the Cucuy liqueur manufactured in Falcon was formally recognized as Cucuy de Penca or Cucuy Pecallero, which is the way they refer to it, the beverage itself,
Hmm.
spirit itself. In 2005, changes were introduced by Venezuelan lawmakers proclaiming Cucuy made solely from 100% green agave was legal again. In 2006, Cucuy was declared part of Venezuela's national patrimony. Okay, so ratified in 2007, artisanal producers could now compete with the pre-existing industrial Cucuy brands. And then finally, in December 2013, 8 artisans were awarded their final permits to produce Cucuy. Today, Venezuela has 8 government authenticated brands of Cucuy. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's and like I said, you have to go back into it's geopolitical. Literally,
Right.
the background of all this stuff is you have to go back into the politics in order to figure out how did we get this?
Right.
How do we get to this?
Well, that's right. Like why a mezcal was outlawed in Mexico for a while, right? Because the Spanish wanted to promote sales of Spanish brandy
Yeah,
and Spanish wine. So there's
yeah.
like no more indigenous alcohol. Like, well,
Well, and that was it's been that way for everything.
yeah.
From from tequila to bacanora to sotol, it's always been hooch.
Yeah.
It's always been white lightning. And this one is probably one of the last ones to have been
Yeah.
ratified and, excuse me, ratified and then um, declared legitimate as
Right.
part of the patrimony. So
Yeah.
what else are
Beautiful.
we getting? It's gorgeous. We do have a
Yeah.
reposado. I think we should probably cut this right here and,
Yeah.
and see what wood does to this thing. Okay.
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
interested.
So anyway, that's our take. Let me show this to you again. If you find it, I have no idea what the price point is. I'd imagine it's rather high.
On their website, they list $80, 79.99 for the Claro.
Wow. Wow.
So,
That's
yeah.
this is it's really kind of like I would say it's a much more, I don't even know what I want to say, man. Is it a much more elegant version of mezcal? Because it has the mezcal qualities to it, but there's no smoke, by the way.
No. No.
I'm not seeing that, I'm not sensing it, but there is a fibrousness, there's a denseness to the flavor, but like you said, Eric, it's everything. It's the full spectrum.
Yeah. I mean, to me, this is kind of in that similar vein to the mezcal that we tasted that was like for Dia de los Muertos. It's like this celebration
Oh yeah, the
mezcal. Yeah,
chulele.
Chulele. That
Chulele.
one, kind of in a similar vein. I think that was higher ABV, but in terms
Yes.
of like quality of this production, right? You really can taste the difference when so much care is put into these spirits. So,
Well, this is it's very much the patrimony, it's very much like tequila had been intended to be it's not now, but there have been books out there that refute and they anyway, I'm not even going to
yeah,
go into it because I don't want to get
yeah,
into politics. This is beautiful. We
yes,
recommend it.
yes,
I think it's great if you want to do cocktails too. I mean, this thing. Can you imagine the kind of
yeah.
cocktails you can make with this thing?
Yeah, I think I was thinking about that. I think a Paloma would work really nicely with it. I think a Moscat or Cocuy Negroni, I should say,
Oh
would work well.
yeah.
I think because it has that kind of citrusy character, brightness to it, I think
Mhm.
it would pair nicely with either the grapefruit juice or grapefruit soda in like the Paloma or the Campari portion of the Negroni. So I think those cocktails would work really well. I'm sure it would work well in a margarita if you wanted to.
Sure. I wouldn't
Or
I
or
wouldn't be
a
afraid to use this with more tropical fruit juices.
mm-hmm.
No, guava juice, papaya juice, stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, those would work well. I think like a basically like a simple daiquiri kind of thing, which is basically spirit,
Oh yeah.
lime, and sugar would work really well.
What do you think about a mojito?
Yeah, yeah. I think mint would work really nicely with this too. So
I know when I
really,
of the kukui when I was doing the research, I found out that the kukui for sale for the public, they mix them with fruit,
yeah,
actual fruit. So um, to have very similar to when the pulque that comes into the United States, it comes in cans and it's flavored
right.
with strawberries and flavored with pineapple. Uh,
Yeah.
I think that's the way they actually make it for the public in Venezuela. Of course, I've never been to Venezuela because we were not allowed to go there.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I probably could, but you'd actually have to take a puddle jumper to get to Venezuela to get to where these are made.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, I love it. I'm so glad that we finally got a chance to
Really great.
get into
Yeah.
it. But that's our take on Verdor Cocuy. If you've had it, tell us how you got it if you dare. Maybe you're Venezuelan. Maybe you're eres de Venezuela. Well, tell me. Leave us a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. Hit the notification bell. Give us a like. Follow us on all of our social platforms. Follow Eric. Eric's famous. He's one of the founding members of ADI, the American Distilling Institute. And whatever you do, folks, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.